Welcome to this live premiere, and today I'm going to be talking about my top 10 most wanted characters in DLC, just all things Nicktoons and the Dice of Destiny. And I was trying to wait a little bit longer and before trying to make this, and I wanted to do this on display and just have this up on the PlayStation 5 just to really be able to have everybody be able to see all the characters we got so far. And it looks like Leonardo was our only reveal for this week. And from the past tweet, I'll just read aloud. From 2 days ago, they said two fan favorite Nickelodeon characters have been revealed so far. Who do you want to see next? And that's what kind of sprung this idea. But I wanted to do a little bit more discussion about this game. And I'm really excited for this, not because just it's a new Nicktoons game, but because it's an RPG and a crossover all into one. A brand new crossover, an RPG, one of my favorite genres that I love playing. And I wanted to bring this image up so everybody who don't probably have Twitter and hasn't seen the characters that we have so far for the character reveals or the character showcases, people can really be able to see the characters that we've gotten and just what this image entails, because it looks like they're just going to start adding the new characters as they get revealed. They'll be added and just into the cover photo that y'all see, and these different silhouettes. Who do you think is in this game? Who do you want to see? And that's why I wanted to make this video for today. My top 10 most wanted characters for Nicktoons and the Dice of Destiny, and just talking about DLC. And the one thing I want to just start with and just mention is that I don't even know who could possibly end up being next. And that's the thing that I was talking about earlier from my other video that I made when I first started seeing this game come to fruition, is that this is the game that can probably be able to bring out all the different types of characters that's been missing for quite some time, since we got Timmy Turner in this game for over a decade, a decade. And I'm gonna just say this now. I don't think he's gonna be just a narrator. It just wouldn't make sense to just go through all that trouble just to have him become a narrator. I would be a little bit upset to see if that is the case. But if you watch the trailer, and I watched the trailer a few times, he's the one who has summoned these characters. He's the one who has called upon these characters for help from all types of different heroes. Awesome heroes, as he says in the trailer. He's the wizard or the spellcaster. I think he's one of them. So he definitely has to be a playable character. I'll be definitely shocked if he's just a narrator telling this story. There's just no way, right? Just going through all that trouble just to get the rights to him, just to have his voice to really be able to narrate the story. I think that would really just be terrible for the fans out there, and I'd be really upset to see that. But I think he's the wizard or the spellcaster for this game. And just like I mentioned before, all these characters on the screen, not the characters that y'all see on the screen right now. So we got Leonardo this week. I'm also going to be talking about that in a little bit. But we got Leonardo this week as the only character for this week. So maybe next week, for this upcoming week, we'll probably end up getting another character, but I'm not sure who it could possibly be. Maybe it could be a Lincoln Loud could possibly be in this game, and some other characters that I'm going to be getting into and just talking about throughout this video today for this premiere. So I'm not sure how long I'm going to go. I didn't even get into my list yet, but I want to just mention that I just think that it could be way more characters than what we have on the screen right now, because a game that I want to just throw out there as a perfect example, Nickelodeon Kart Racers 3, because it had about 5 to 6 characters, and just off memory, SpongeBob was on there, Garfield, Jenny Wakeman, TMNT is Raphael, and then we had Aang from Avatar. Those were the only characters that was spotted on that cover. But when you go into when you get into the content itself, it was 42 playable characters. And that roster exceeds All-Star Brawl 1 and Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2. So maybe this game has a little bit more than meets the eye. At least I would hope that it does. Because I'm hoping that it doesn't have like just 8 characters and, several other characters will be missing. But there is a possible chance that we could end up seeing DLC that could also open up the door where we can get new playable worlds and other characters that don't make the base roster, just in case Fair Play Labs does DLC and they also have a good history of post-launch content, but I just hope it ain't gonna just be no 3-4 characters that they gonna just end up stopping with and just cutting things off from there. So maybe this could be the game that can really be able to last for quite some time while they have that other game, Speedrunners, coming out. We got this crossover game with Nicktoons and the Dice of Destiny. This is something that I was looking for a brand new adventure game instead of just playing platform fighters all the time. So this is something that I'm excited for, and that's why I want to just be able to start talking about this a little bit more often and sharing ideas and different characters that I want to see. We don't know if we're gonna get everybody. Maybe we're not gonna get everybody that we want to see. Maybe some characters might end up getting replaced. And I'm gonna just throw this out there. I honestly think that Leonardo might be the only turtle that might be the only playable character. They might just go one character per show to really be able to show up in Nicktoons, the Dice of Destiny. Who's going to represent the TME? Who else is going to represent the TMNT other than the leader himself? Because I don't really think all 4 turtles would probably end up getting picked up. It'll probably just be one rep per show, like the Nicktoons Unite series. We had SpongeBob, Jimmy Neutron, Danny Phantom, and Timmy Turner, and things like that. So just real quick before we start getting into other things that I want to just talk about for this video, and I'm gonna have the timestamps as well listed in the description, so I'm not talking in circles. People can just listen to the portion that you want to listen to. It's so much to just really just want out of this game because you want it to be as good as possible, and then the fact that they got Timmy Turner in the game. Who knows who else they probably end up making negotiations with, trying to get some of these other characters that have appeared in these other games from these crossovers. So Jimmy Neutron and Danny Phantom, I think, will be revealed in this game sometime soon. So I wanted to start thinking about other series that's still missing characters that I think would fit in this game, and then also those who have yet to be represented. So that's what I'm going to be bringing up throughout this video. So I didn't want to just have the same characters get brought up. I wanted to start talking about other characters that would really be cool to see and really deserve to get into this game, alongside of some others that might have a good chance of being able to show up maybe later on in the near future. So Lincoln Lau and Korra may also be the other characters that are in that trailer, potentially, from just rewatching the trailer. From the character that's outlined in blue, it looks like it could be Katara, but I highly doubt Katara is going to get picked up over Korra. But it would make the most sense to see Korra get picked up, and we haven't even seen any sort of Avatar representation in these Nicktoons Unite crossover games. So it'll be a nice surprise to really finally see them get in on the action with this Nicktoons crossover. So, and the character that's highlighted in orange, I think, is Lincoln Lau by chance. Maybe some people think it's Garfield, but I also have some other things I want to talk about for him as well. But Lincoln Lau and Korra, I think, are probably going to be the characters that we might end up seeing in that just join in from the roster. So the Legend of Korra has been represented in Nickelodeon Kart Racers. She also was in All Star Brawl 1 and 2. So maybe we might end up seeing them. So those are just some guesses and predictions that I want to throw out there. So from what we got this week with Leonardo's reveal, so far we had one new additional class type from Leonardo's reveal. So Leonardo is a samurai instead of being he's a ninja turtle. I'm surprised they don't have that as a class. He's a samurai class, as you guys can see on the screen, rocking the katanas. He has some cool little moves. So his showcase came out this week. So maybe we'll probably end up getting another class reveal this upcoming week with a brand new character from another separate show, and then also a new class introduction for the reveal. So SpongeBob, that y'all can see in the middle, is a knight. So we got a knight and a samurai so far. And then from Timmy, he could be a wizard or a spellcaster, but we just don't know where he's going to fall into, what class he's going to fall under yet, because we haven't gotten his reveal. Now, before I even start getting into my top 10 list and some other additional DLC characters, I want to just mention the Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2 new reps from what we got from the past, because sometimes when they come out with these kind of games, they'll usually follow suit with some of these other games that have recently gotten in from the other games. They're likely to appear in the next crossover or the next Nickelodeon game if it's not just a full on SpongeBob game. So the new reps that we got, if we had 11 cuts and 11 new reps to really replace the characters from the All-Star Brawl series. So for Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2, the new reps, we had the Angry Beavers, El Tigre, Azula, Plankton, Squidward, Ember McLean, Gerald, Grandma Gertie by surprise, Raphael and Donatello, the other two turtles, ended up getting into the game while Leonardo and Mikey got cut. And then we had Jimmy Neutron as the other 11th new character. So Jimmy Neutron, we could see some. Jimmy Neutron was the other little rep that we forgot, what I almost forgot to mention. So those are all the different characters, all the new Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2 reps that we've gotten. So maybe some of these characters, we could see some of these other characters return potentially in this game. Maybe they'll be bosses. Maybe they'll appear in the background as a cameo. Maybe they'll have certain different roles. See what they did to Hugh Neutron? He became an NPC and he had a different role instead of being a playable character. Some of these other characters from these different shows might have a different role and might be able to appear in these different fantasy lands. Because each world, well, in this game, it's going to have separate different worlds. So it's not going to just be one world. We're going to be going to all types of different Nickelodeon-inspired fantasy lands and worlds. So maybe some of those other characters from those shows, from Danny Phantom and Jimmy Neutron's friends, might end up getting spotted if he's in this game. So those are just all the newest reps that we ended up getting. And Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2 is our newest, most recent crossover. So I wanted to just bring that out as a key point, because some of those characters that I just mentioned, maybe they might end up getting picked up and getting added into this game for Nicktoons and the Dice of Destiny. So something else that I want to just say just one more time before we get into the list. I think this game will probably have one character per show. Who do you guys think will represent? Who would you pick to represent the Loud House? Obviously, probably most people say Lincoln Loud. He deserves to return. Which other reps would you guys pick? Would you go with a Ninja Turtle? Maybe Leonardo deserves to be by himself to carry the load of the TMNT in this Nicktoons crossover. And I just think it's gonna hinder the chances of other characters to be able to get in if we got all 4 turtles. But maybe it'll be something completely different. Maybe they could be some additional characters that you can unlock. It could be more than just Leonardo being a playable character as well. So, and the other thing that I want to mention is that we're getting these showcases now, and it might lead up to the game's release. So we don't have a full on release date, because this game is coming out this fall. The showcases, that's the other thing that I wanted to just bring out today and start talking about. These showcases already started. So we got 2 characters now. So if this game is coming out this fall, maybe we got a significant amount of characters that they probably have in store for this roster. So maybe it doesn't stop with this cover. You see 2 characters on the left side, 2 characters on the right, and maybe it's 3 or 4 more that's on the cover that's hidden alongside the SpongeBob and Leonardo. Maybe this game probably has way more than meets the eye. Maybe the other 3 turtles could be in. It might get showcased at some point later on at a later date. We just don't know. But I wouldn't be surprised just thinking about the whole Nicktoons Unite sort of, just the style of the gameplay itself, and switching between 4 characters. You weren't switching between 4 SpongeBob reps and things like that. It was 4 different characters from different shows. So maybe they're gonna do this 1 character per show sort of thing, where Danny Phantom's gonna be in, Jimmy Neutron, Leonardo for the Turtles, Lincoln Loud for the Loud House. They could do Garfield and things like that, and then Korra for the Legend of Korra holding it down. And it's just like, you can't really think of anyone else to really be able to get represented for some of these shows, because you already know who's the main hero and who's the main character of that main face of their shows and from their worlds. So I just wanted to just mention some of those. So it's just some possibilities of possibly end up getting, maybe we'll see more additional reps from these other shows, unless they'll do 1 character per show. I wouldn't be surprised just to fit that Nicktoons Unite sort of style that they went, that direction that they went. It was just one character playable per show. So my top 10, I'm gonna get into this for this portion. This ended up dragging on a little bit longer than I expected, but I wanted to just get everything out. Plus, we haven't even seen. We didn't even end up getting another additional character reveal. So this just makes it a little bit more on the longer side with just the different characters that I want to talk about and just what they could possibly do, because there's so many different things. It's so many questions. Who else is going to get in? Is this all the characters that we're going to end up getting? Is it going to be more? Maybe we'll end up getting post-launch content, or maybe the game just comes out and it won't get any sort of post-launch content. But I think this game can definitely get more. So my top 10 characters that I want to see, I wanted to just change this up a little bit and stop and just go outside of different characters that are forgotten and some characters that can fit this game, and then maybe some additional characters that would probably be cool to see in this game. So I went with Mighty B's Bessie Hickenbottom that I wanted to start with, because this is a series I think will be cool to see in this game with her own unique powers, and all these characters, the characters that we have so far from these showcases, they have their own unique movesets, their own unique classes. So maybe everybody's going to be under a different class. Maybe there's multiple classes. Maybe it could be like a dual class where with spellcaster and wizard falling in the same, being under the same category and things like that. But maybe those will probably be end up separate, things like that. It's just tough to really try to pick a class for these characters of how they're going to play. So I went Bessie from Mighty Bean, Rugrats Tales from the Crib. Some characters might be familiar. Rugrats Tales from the Crib's Queen Angelica as a cool little villain. I think maybe they'll add one of the Rugrats. Maybe Tommy might be leading the charge. I don't know how they're going to probably play and what class they'll be, but I really like the Tales from the Crib special for the Rugrats. Queen Angelica would definitely fit this as a nice iconic villain that I really want to see. So I added her. I didn't want to name any other Rugrats to just hog up the list. So I went with Chalk Zone's Rudy or Snap that can really be able to be added into this game. Rudy can just draw all types of stuff with that magic chalk, so I wanted to get him in here in my top 10. Someone from Tough Puppy, it could be Dudley Puppy in his knight armor, just straight from the show. Kitty Caswell has some fighting potential and things like that with her own moves. It'll be cool to see both of them get in. Maybe he won't make base roster. Some of these characters probably won't even make base roster. They might end up getting it as DLC if they go this route. Cat Scratch's Gordon, Waffle, and Mr. Blit. I would love to see them get in at some point. There's so many just potential with these characters. There's so many shows. I want to see all these characters get in at some point. I mentioned the Exes with the family of spies that can get in. Rocket Power hasn't even been seen since Nickelodeon Party Blast, so I added them in. But being open and honest, I just think Rocket Power probably doesn't even fit this game. But I would love, as much as I would love to see Rocket Power in this game, I just don't think they fit. They probably won't end up being added into this game, because they do all the sports stunts and things like that. Rocket Power characters just don't fit this game's genre and the gameplay style, so they probably won't even ever end up getting in. But I still added them in my top 10 because I would love to see Rocket Power. It's one of my favorite shows that I watch and one of the best intros. And then I threw in Garfield and Ren and Stimpy, some already represented shows, but we don't know if they're in. So I went Garfield as a possible potential barbarian. Maybe that was probably him in the trailer, but I think I'm leaning more towards Lincoln Lau being that character and that being the one that's outlined in orange. But I wanted to see Garfield as a nice, silly, goofy character that I think a lot of people might like to see, and they'll probably end up picking him. Ren and Stimpy as a duo fighter. I wouldn't even be mad to see Powder Toast Man get in, but it'll be fun to see him because he's a hero and he fights for justice. It'll be awesome to see him in it. And then my last character that I put into my top 10 was Tack. Maybe Tack and the Power of Juju could get in. I'm not sure what's going on with the rights. I don't know everything about the rights and the licensing and things like that with some of these shows. But this top 10, I wanted to try to make it different from other characters that I brought up, and that's why you don't hear me talking about Jimmy Neutron and other characters, because I think they're in the game. I think they're probably gonna be in the game more than likely. They definitely deserve to come back, Jimmy Neutron and Danny Phantom, to really be able to reunite the the original the original team with SpongeBob, Timmy Turner, Danny, and Jimmy from the first Nicktoons Unite game. So hopefully that'll be something that they can do. But just to close this out for DLC, some of these characters that I just mentioned, Tack could be DLC. He probably not gonna be base roster. Some of these characters might just get jumbled around and might not get picked up right away. They probably won't be in part of the day one playable launch and unlockable characters. So this is the DLC portion that I wanted to just close out with. Fair Play Labs has done post launch content before, so maybe this could get more characters in new worlds. We only know of one world that I already mentioned before with Bikini Bottomshire that's already been listed and confirmed. So that's SpongeBob's own world, but we don't know who else is there. We don't know who else is in it. So characters that don't make it in, or shows that don't get in day one, can join in the near future. So I'm gonna just run through these. Maybe we'll end up getting a season pass. See what they did with Nickelodeon All Star Brawl 2? What about season pass potential? Who would you guys add for a season pass? Maybe I'll probably try to make one at some point. Start doing like season pass ideas for this, for characters that I want to see for Dice of Destiny, if they do one. But we don't know if we're gonna get one, if we're gonna get post launch content or not. So characters that some other characters for other shows that I think will definitely be more than likely DLC. Glitch Sets. I know Mats and the Midnights is a new show, but I think they'll fit this game. They can get in as a nice DLC. I think Nickelodeon will want them added into this kind of game if they go DLC. Fanboy and Chom Chom, regardless of what people say about the show, I love the show. I like it. Even I'm a new viewer to the show. I just recently had watched it from over a year ago, so I didn't get into it right off the bat when it first came out. Fanboy and Chum Chum could get picked up, and then something a little bit different, something a little goofy as a DLC. Avatar: The Last Airbender as DLC. What if Aang is not in this game? What if Aang is not base roster? See what they did to Zuko. Zuko has been a back-to-back DLC, and they've done Avatar: The Last Airbender DLC. So maybe Avatar: The Last Airbender could become DLC once again for this kind of game. I don't know. Maybe Aang might be in this. Maybe they might have Azula be in this to be represented. And then with Aang having the power of the four elements and things from the four nations, I don't know what kind of class he'll fall under. But I just threw I threw Avatar: The Last Airbender DLC in because of what they've been constantly doing. Zuko was DLC for Kart Racers 3, and Zuko was DLC again for Nickelodeon All Star Brawl 2. So maybe they might end up adding other characters from these other shows for additional routes, and maybe some other ones. But for DLC, I would rather have new shows that are missing, that's still missing, that don't end up getting in for the base roster for playable characters for post launch content, so we can go to these new worlds to really be able to explore. And then maybe, just maybe, it might even flip flop where Legend of Korra might end up being DLC. Imagine that. What if that person in blue, outlined in blue, the character outlined in blue is Katara? Never know. They might do something different. And then Legend of Korra becomes DLC instead of Avatar: The Last Airbender, just in case Azula or someone else is in this game. We got to think about the villains too. So it's so much to really just think about when it comes to this game, about not even just they see how they showing the protagonists or the heroes themselves. Who's going to be villains? Who's going to be the sub bosses that can get in? Who's going to be a major boss fight, or a guardian that's protecting their land in these worlds that you fight through? You fight all your way all the way to the boss. Who's going to be running the kingdom? Who's going to be running that particular world? And who's going to be the sub bosses that's going to be trying to slow you down? So it's so many different questions. All these different shows. Harvey Beats, Kablam. And I'm going to say this too. I don't think Cat Dog is going to get into this game. I'll be very surprised to see Cat Dog. It'll be cool to see the Greasers get involved with the medieval times and things like that. They'll look really cool, Cat Dog, as a nice little duo. But I think Ren and Stimpy are definitely going to probably be the duo that gets picked up over the Angry Beavers and Cat Dog. Some people might feel differently, But just some extended talk about this, just to talk a little bit more about it. I just think certain shows and certain classes are not going to be able to get in. I don't even see a real monster getting into this. Remember, real monsters from the 90s? Well, Blina, Crumb, and Ickis. It'll be nice to see them, but this just doesn't seem like the game for them to get picked. It just doesn't seem like the game that's going to get. This is not going to be the game that's going to include everybody that some people want to see. That's why I had such a hard time that's why I had this drag on for a little bit longer and turning it into a premiere, because there's so much to talk about, but some of these characters are not going to get picked up and they're not going to be able to get into this game, and then they're probably just going to get left out. And just going back to the same situation with the whole Leonardo situation. Leonardo got in just as I predicted, and I think he's going to lead the charge of the Turtles. I don't know. I just have doubts of seeing Raphael, Donatello, and Michelangelo getting picked up, but they will really look cool. But just to fit the Nicktoons Unite style and the direction of how that game was, there was one character from that show, from each world, working together to stop the evil syndicate. So Genie might be one of these characters that's on this screen. I just think, just real quick, just looking at the silhouette, I just think Danny Phantom is definitely in here. It just seems like it fits his haircut from the left side, from the left hand side. I don't know who else the other characters could be, but I know that Wizard definitely has to be. The Wizard is Timmy Turner. He's definitely got to be a playable character. There's just no way they're not going to just have him be a narrator to go through all that trouble. And just the fact that he has brought all these different characters along for the ride for some help, for reinforcements. Timmy called these reinforcements. He's the one who summoned them. So who else did he get? Who else did he call upon? And that's what makes it just makes you excited and curious about what's going to happen, what they're going to do with this game next, who's going to get revealed this week. And it's definitely got to be a new character from a different show that's going to represent a new class. Every character is going to have their own class that they represent. How many knights are there going to be? Is Leonardo the only samurai? It just leaves you so many questions. That's what I'm talking about this today. And it dragged on a little bit. There's so many different characters that can play a certain role, but when that said character gets in, what kind of role would they play? Will they have a supporting role, or will they be someone that's going to be a playable character? We're not gonna get everything that we want from this game, I feel like, even from the characters. And I'm happy Timmy got in. I'm satisfied. But the only thing that would make me even more excited for this is seeing some of those other characters that we didn't expect to show up to get included into this crossover. So that's something that I'm just going to be looking forward to seeing. So we'll probably find out, this upcoming week. So maybe we'll find out and see another character on Monday, because Leonardo got revealed on Monday. So I hope y'all have a good. Have a good night and enjoy the video premiere. But I wanted to just really be able to just bring something, a little bit of some extended discussion about the game. Maybe we'll end up seeing more. We might end up seeing more. Maybe we might end up seeing some additional reps get in. And if they go to post-launch content, which I hope they do, this game can really just go on, because there's so many different worlds. We can get into so many different worlds to really be creative, for the developers to be creative, to really get a lot of good characters to be able to get into this game. So this ended up going a little bit longer, but I wanted to just get this out to really start talking about all types of different future content for the game, or what they can do. And these worlds, it's not just going to be the character. We're going to get the worlds that's represented for these Nickelodeon inspired worlds. That's what I'm most excited for. And just seeing who else got picked up. So, in the interactions, that's something else that I would say I'm the most excited about. To see, is SpongeBob going to be able to talk to Leonardo? And will SpongeBob really be able to acknowledge Jimmy Neutron? Will he be able to remember? Will Jimmy and Timmy remember each other? It'll be a nice little nod to the Jimmy Timmy Power Hour, the Jimmy Timmy Power Hour special. It'll be a nice nod to that series and many other characters. SpongeBob can talk to Garfield and things like that. It can be really cool to see all this stuff come to fruition. So I really hope they put in the effort for this game, instead of just bringing it out and just trying to bring out something new and just leave it for dead when this game can be so much bigger and better.